The Watchtower teaches that a heavenly group of 144,000 of anointed Christians, also known as the children of God, will be liberated at the start of the 1,000 years and will co-rule with Christ during the millennium. However, in opposition to this, many churchgoers often oppose the Watchtower's interpretations, but still the question remains, is what the Watchtower teaching true? Well, yes, it is indeed true, and it is biblical. The question is, though, who is this heavenly group? Well, in Romans 8:14 through 17, this heavenly group is identified as the Spirit-begotten children and adopted sons of Jehovah, the brothers of Christ. This heavenly class, of course, represents the 144,000 anointed Christians who have all received the heavenly calling and invitation. These anointed Christians, again, numbering a total of 144,000, constitutes the body of Christ, also known as the congregation, the new and heavenly Jerusalem, and Jesus' bride. However, this begs the question, when does the liberation from corruption for the heavenly class take place? Well, their liberation from corruptibility will take place at the first resurrection, at the start of the 1,000 years. This resurrection will immediately transform this heavenly class into immortal, incorruptible, life-giving spirits, a reflection of the glorified Christ himself. These anointed persons, after being given authority over the nations, will co-rule with Christ during the 1,000 years.
However, in contrast to this, there is also an earthly class of Christians who will have the prospect of an earthly hope. These persons will be the earthly subjects of the children of God and of God's kingdom. And as earthly subjects, during the 1,000-year reign, these imperfect humans will be guided to human perfection, receiving instructions from Christ and his 144,000 companions who will shepherd and teach the nations alongside him. Of course, the start of the 1,000 years will initiate this restoration process for all of creation that has been corrupted, which includes all of humanity, the earth, and even the material world itself. However, it is important to note that the earthly class's liberation from corruptibility will not occur immediately. Instead, it will be a progressive transformation, as this earthly group will receive education, healing, and instruction under the kingdom's administration and Christ's righteous rule. So this begs the question, when does the liberation from corruptibility for the earthly group and the creation takes place? Well, you'd be surprised to know that the liberation from corruptibility for the earthly class and the creation will occur, not at the start, but at the end of the 1,000 years, when Satan is briefly released for a short time to test the perfected humanity. Yes, an echo to what had occurred in the original Garden of Eden. Therefore, only then will those who remained obedient and faithful during Satan's final test be permanently set free from sin, death, and corruption, and will be rewarded with everlasting life on the renewed and restored earth. Thus, only after these post-millennial events occur will the creation enter into the glorious freedom of the children of God.